Hi, Ranvir. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. This is the first time I've done a live stream.
Well, welcome. I like to put my friends on the spot, so
No
you're
kidding. Yeah,
you're
it's
in the
been
hot seat,
a good 15, 20 years of that. So you think I'd be used to it by now.
right?
But
I'm
yeah,
really good at putting you on the spot.
yeah. But thanks for having me. As you can imagine, well, I guess everybody in and kind of who's running their own business, we've had to shift how we build our business. And so, in light of social distancing and COVID-19, kind of gone are the days of hosting dinners at restaurants and whatnot for now. So what I'm doing I'm offering a very special experience for a few people who would like to introduce me to people in their network who may benefit from somebody who wants to do some financial consulting or planning, or who has a need for financial advice. What we focus on is really on the planning side. So we're not salespeople trying to sell you a product or a fly by night kind of thing. We're trying to actually understand what your needs and goals are and put together a holistic plan. So if you're that kind of person, or if you know someone who is, and if you're interested in I guess cooking or masterclass cooking, we're going to have celebrity chef Mark McEwan, who you're probably familiar with from the Food Network. And I'm going to do porch drop offs for people. We've got wine pairings, and I've got recipe cards for the recipes he's going to cover during his masterclass. And if that interests you, I work best with people, average people, just like Jen and I, people who, may or may not have families, or just good people who are looking to get ahead. And if you can think of anyone who might benefit from that, and from myself, then I'd be happy to host you.
That's awesome. Well, so many things to talk about in the stuff that you just said. First of all, anybody who's looking for financial advice, anybody in this world of, you know, constant change, it's such a great idea to make sure that we have our financial lives in order. Parents who have kids, people going through divorces. There's so many new situations coming up, especially from COVID, that we're just seeing all these new life changes, and we don't necessarily have the financial backing to handle it, especially with all these people losing their jobs. And like, having the financial stability is so important. And then you obviously would know all of the government, the new restrictions, the new availabilities of funding, and all of that stuff. So talk a little bit about that, because I think that as much as we love cooking, we really need to be supporting our financial lives right now more
For
than
sure.
anything.
Yeah, so it's these are interesting times. I'd say it's one thing understanding how finances work and understanding how maybe a personal budget or some financial planning concepts might work. It's another thing to constantly kind of understand and navigate through all the changes that have happened and are going to continue to happen with government stimulus packages, with surplus spending, or right now what we're seeing is that the stock market's still doing really, really well, despite the fact that the economy, at least here in Alberta, is not doing that great. It's not doing particularly that much better anywhere else. But why are real estate prices still going up? Why are stock market prices still going up? Is it a bubble? When is it going to end? What's going to happen? And the reality of the situation is when you get caught up on just the minutia or the fine details, you miss the whole picture. It's kind of like the tree for the forest, right? Kind of analogy. And in addition to that, there are pieces of information that come out that get disseminated quite widely and broadly, but not the average person is going to pick up on those messages, or nor do they have access to it, or even a mind to it. So, for example, if you were somebody who took out Canada Emergency Response Benefit payments, CERB or CURB or whatever they're calling it, if you're somebody who took those payments out in 2020, and if you made over $38,000, then the government wants you to pay back 50 cents of every dollar above that. So let's say you are in that situation where you're going to have to pay back.
There's a
Well,
lot
guess
of
what?
people, a lot of people are in that situation, not knowing, right? Because they just went straight for the emergency fund and didn't look at the obstacles that come with that.
Well, that plus the fact that people's incomes were sporadic. So let's say, for example, working in a restaurant, and so you're working your job. Your capacity is a third or a half what it used to be. So your tips are gone down, and now all of a sudden the government says, okay, we're shutting down restaurants. So you lose your job for 2-3 months, but then you go back, and let's say people are more generous, whatever the case might be. It's been really hard to track what your actual income is going to be. So a lot of people are going to find themselves in a position where they're going to owe the money back to the government. Well, what a lot of people may not know is that you don't actually have to pay that tax back until next tax year. So if you're thinking that you're going to have a tax bill this year and you're worried about it, don't be worried about it. File your taxes because it's going to impact your universal child benefits and all that kind of stuff. And obviously, especially if you're a single parent or single mom or anything like that, you don't want to lose your subsidies, your benefits, or your childcare, or even some of your daycare subsidies, right? So file your taxes. Don't be worried about having to owe the government. You're going to owe them one way or another. But the good thing is you don't have to pay them this year. It can be deferred till next year without any penalties, right?
Also, in with all of the great help that the government's given with this situation, there have also been some question marks around the people who have deferred their payments for mortgages and things like that. Like, had I not spoken to my financial advisor, I probably would have tried to do that, but then not knowing that there are things that happen on the back end of that in deferring, that may have been or not been a great idea for specific families or for certain situations. Like, that's kind of why, like, for me, any financial thing that comes up, like, I'm always talking to my guy because I want to make sure that I'm on the right track and not just making hasty decisions because we're in crisis and we need to get help right now, and we'll deal with the consequences later. But talk about the mortgage deferrals and things like that, because I know that they're kicking some people in the butt right now.
Yeah, so very, very, obviously very important. How that's working is basically, and let's remember, it's a payment deferral. It's not a payment,
Forgiveness, right?
forgiveness or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a deferral. So you're just gonna have to pay it back later. And so what's happening is the interest payments that you would have had, let's say, on a mortgage. You've deferred it, but now they're tacking it onto the back of the mortgage, which essentially is going to extend two things. One is it's going to extend your amortization, or the length of time it takes to pay off your house, but also it's going to increase your interest cost because now, again, and in addition to that, you're going to pay interest on top of the interest. So what's really, really important, and actually what's really impactful, and people may not think that this is going to make a very big difference, but it makes a huge difference. If you're able to make even one additional monthly payment onto your mortgage, even if you have to split that payment up over the entire year, if you're able to make one extra payment and you've done a mortgage deferral, or even if you haven't, it can substantially reduce your interest cost and get you out of your mortgage a heck of a lot faster. And I'm not talking about a month or 2 months. I'm talking about years. People, people who are on bi-weekly accelerated payments, we know they shave off a good 5 years of their mortgage just by doing that. But some people like to pay monthly, and there's nothing wrong with that. But just like I said, if you're able to make one extra payment, it's going to go a long way. And it doesn't seem like a lot. If you got a $300,000-$400,000 mortgage, and you're talking about a $2,000-$3,000 mortgage payment, it makes a huge difference, because how interest is calculated is actually after the fact. So basically, when you make a lump sum payment in addition to your regular payment on a mortgage, that amount goes directly to principal. When the principal amount is reduced, then interest is calculated going forward. So it has a profound impact, and it's such a simple thing to be able to do, right?
It also affects your credit rating and borrowing ability as well, right?
Yeah, so definitely, if you've got a good history of paying back debt, paying it off and paying it back, and even paying it off sooner. Now, mortgage companies and banks, they don't want you to pay your mortgage off faster than you've told them that you're going to do it. And it's not just because of interest; it's because after a bank sells you a mortgage, they then take that loan and they securitize it by pooling it with other mortgages and selling it to their capital markets group. And the reason why they do that is so that investors can invest in your mortgage without really, it's a part of your mortgage. But if you prepay that mortgage back too soon, it impacts the investor who maybe is looking for a longer time horizon on that investment. So then that introduces prepayment risk to the investor, and that's why there's penalties on paying back your mortgage too soon or over certain limits, right?
Okay, so if any of you are listening to this, I bet you nobody knew that because I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Nobody knows these things, right? So that's why we need to talk to somebody like you.
Well,
Um,
I spent 10 years working on Bay Street in Toronto. I spent a number of years working in Wall Street as well. And why? And people ask me, why did you leave that? Listen, the lifestyle was glamorous and I loved it, but the reality is that I mean, look at me. I'm 40 years old and I got gray hair everywhere. Right?
nah, you're looking
you,
good.
you age, you age fast.
Stop fishing for compliments. You know you're looking good.
I loved the idea of coming back to Calgary and then actually being able to um, take the everything that I've learned in the industry from an insider level and be able to share it with my friends, my family, and regular people, so that you can actually get yourself set up for success. And if there's an opportunity for you to position yourself so that you're beating the system, why the heck not, right?
Totally, totally. And even using the systems, whatever works with the system already, just using it to your advantage, because every time I talk to you, I learn something new about investing or just even what I should do with my, extra money that I get for like holidays or whatever it is. Like there's always something that I learn. And the financial literacy is so important, especially to all you moms out there who are single moms or even just trying to have your own financial stability. Financial literacy is so important. And that's like the one thing when with all my coaching clients, that's where everybody struggles. It's I want to make more money. I want to have more money, but they're still working their 9 to 5s and they're still, paying them whatever into their RSPs and there's no diversification. There's no knowledge around it. And then having someone like you to say, with this bonus that you get at the end of the year, use it here or do this with that, or move your things around, or maybe you do the RESPs, and knowing what the products are and the availability is out there is so important, because otherwise we're just putting money into a 1% for a year bank savings account, and then what does that do for us? Nothing.
If that, and after inflation and taxes, you've actually locked in a loss for yourself now, anyways, right? You're better off spending that money today than saving it for tomorrow, right?
Yeah, so that's really, really unfortunate that a lot of people don't know. But then there's people like you out here that we can get some information from, and I'm so grateful that you're on my side, and that hopefully you can help out some of my friends as well.
Well, my advice is free education. I'm passionate about. We're actually, I'm in the process of putting together a parenting kind of series
Mm-hmm.
where we're going to focus on financing your retirement for one, financing your children's education, and there's a lot of different strategies for that. People just kind of think RESPs and that's kind of it, but there's actually a lot of really cool, innovative strategies outside of RESPs that I mean I'm even doing for my daughter, and I've done for my brother's kids and people who are close to me, and I'm trying to share that with more people because the wealthy and the sophisticated investors out there, the 1%, they do these things for their children, and you have to wonder how are they able to preserve their wealth and how are they able to continuously expand their wealth, and it's because they know things that we don't. So you got to empower yourself through education. We're going to do financing and retirement. We're going to do RESPs. We're going to do money and youth. So I'm going to actually teach you how to provide financial literacy to your children at home. With a lot of kids staying home for getting homeschooled through COVID, I've got a curriculum and a textbook already put together. And my wife's a former teacher. So between the two of us, we were able to actually put the curriculum together into digestible pieces that you can actually take and then start to educate your children on and giving them financial literacy, because um, the education system has not changed in hundreds of years, right? Ontario recently announced that they're going to introduce financial literacy into their core curriculum in high school. I think that's too late still, even. We should be teaching kids about compounding interest and credit card debt in junior high, even, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm sending my kids to Uncle Ranvir for sure as soon
Yeah,
as
yeah.
ready.
And
For sure.
I'm lucky. I'm very lucky because I work for an organization that's really passionate about providing financial literacy to our clients, to the public as a whole. So IG actually put this entire Money and Youth curriculum together with the Money and Youth organization. I can share the link with you as well if people are interested. And certainly I'll send you the information when I have the actual times booked for when we're going to launch these workshops. And we'll do them virtually over Teams or Zoom or whatever.
Sure. And when that happens, definitely let me know, because I know that I know a lot of my mom friends are definitely going to be interested in that, because those conversations are tough, especially when we don't know ourselves. How do we teach our kids what we don't know, right?
Exactly.
And so that's really a great opportunity. But let's talk about the fun stuff happening on Thursday, because that's as much as we love talking cash and finance and investments. What is this all about?
So Mark McEwan, he actually it's interesting because I used to actually work at a bank branch that he used to bank at. I would cross the street from his restaurant, North 44. So and he was a client of ours. So I actually got to for sample his food, without having to pay for it at first, because it's quite up there, and it's quite gourmet, right? It's the premier place to eat, in Toronto, with respect, if you're looking for a good steak or a good meal. And then he owns another restaurant called Bymark, which is catered more towards the financial services industry and folks. That's on Wellington Street, downtown Toronto. And then he's got a bunch of grocery stores that he's opened up. He's on the Food Network. He does the Master Chef. He's a judge there. He's a very humble, down to earth person. He really passionate about cooking, healthy eating, and just a great guy. So I'm happy to host him. His food's phenomenal. The master class isn't designed for you to cook alongside with him because he's quite fast. But I mean, I know my way around a kitchen, so I'm quite confident I can keep up with him. If you're looking for a cooking class, this isn't it.
No.
This is for you. Watch it. You'll be
And
amazed.
then do it later.
And then do it later. I have the recipe cards for you, so you can see the ingredients, do your shopping, etc. For those of you who want me to host you, or I'm happy to drop off some wine for those folks that want to try to cook alongside Mark and pair the wine with the meal. I can keep up with him. I did have an event with Chef Susur Lee a few months ago as well.
Yeah.
He's really fast. Forget about it. I couldn't keep up with him. He was just chopping everything way too quickly, and it was. I just started drinking the wine, right? Like, it's reached the point where
maybe that's the issue, is you were drinking the wine and that's why you couldn't keep up. A little slow.
So I know my limits, right? And I know my limits with how fast I can chop vegetables. And I know my limits with wine as well, obviously.
That's
Right?
good.
So,
Very smart.
yeah, so I mean, it's going to be a great show. There's no obligation for anyone. I want to put that out there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not obligating you to do business with me, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm happy to teach you and educate you on things. My process, actually, I'm doing a lot of work right now with some key players in our organization on women's finance. And the reason why I'm super passionate about that is, and why I'm a good fit for it, is because my whole approach is about trying to educate people first, because through education comes empowerment.
Yep.
And then once you're empowered, that will breed confidence. And once you have that confidence, then you can start making smart decisions, right? So that that whole process is so important for people to understand. I want to put that out there. If you're talking to me, or if I'm talking to you, or if I'm hosting you at an event, there's no obligation to sit down and do business or buy anything from me. If you got questions, if I can help you in any way, I'm very happy to do so. I have all the time in the world for you.
Yeah, you've always been super generous with your time and with your knowledge, and I've always appreciated that. And so I'm so grateful to have you in my corner and to have you, be available to those that might need it. I know that we're all struggling in certain ways, some more than others, but I know from personal experience that having a financial consultant, financial advisor, whatever you want to call yourself, financial buddy, has literally saved me from a lot of financial destruction. I was at the height of my divorce in a really bad place, with depression and anxiety and just really not doing well. And literally my financial advisor, who also works with IG, who I started with before you came back.
I was so proud at
So
the
you
time.
don't get to be mad at me because
I know. You're a good man.
I love Brandon Bailey. He's a great guy. But the thing is, and you've been friends with mine. We've been friends for 20 something years, but literally you people are lifesavers. And that's like, I can absolutely 100% confidently say that, because had I not had a conversation with somebody, I was headed down a really dark path. So I'm so grateful to people like you who offer solutions and creative solutions. And like, I literally came in and I said, here's my situation, good luck. And then within months I was, debt free with investments, which was mind blowing to me, because I didn't think that was even ever an option. So you guys are creative geniuses, and I'm happy to put people who need your help in your hands, because man, do we ever need it. So I hope people join on Thursday. The link is in the description, but we'll put it in the comments as well. And yes, if you can share the information about the other things that you're doing, happy to share that as well. And when you've got it up and running, I want to have you back so we can talk about that.
Of course. I mean, I'm like I said, I'm honored. Definitely.
Yeah, me too. Awesome. Thanks so much, Ranvir. We'll talk to you soon. And anybody that wants to join, it's Thursday, March 11th. I think it's 6 p.m. Mountain Standard. Yeah, Mountain Time.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to be there. So bring over some wine and
yeah, I'm going to go pick up a case. So don't worry, I'll have some for us.
make a stop at my place. So we'll see you guys later. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great, what is it? Wednesday, Thursday. I don't know. Whatever day it is, it doesn't matter. Have a great day, everyone.